Well, new questions of impropriety surrounding Hillary Clinton today after her husband, Bill Clinton, had a private meeting with Attorney General Loretta Lynch. The former president visited Lynch on board her private plane at a Phoenix airport Monday evening. Lynch, of course, is overseeing the FBI investigation into his wife's use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. Washington Post reporter Philip Bump is here with us. Philip, thank you for joining us.
Of course, my pleasure.
And tell us, it's the word they use in Washington often is optics.
Right, sure.
Even Democrats are saying the optics on this one isn't good.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to dispute that. I mean, this is the central question for Hillary Clinton right now is what's going to happen with this email server. Yes, there's a general election down the road, but right now she's trying to get past this hurdle. And the question is what the FBI is going to do with it. Is the FBI going to indict? How the FBI is going to react to this email server usage? Having Bill Clinton go and sort of do his own thing, which he always likes to do during campaign seasons, in this case was particularly unhelpful.
That is truly his MO. He does sort of,
that's right.
His Secret Service agents will tell you this is something he does. Right. But this is Loretta Lynch. She was appointed by a Democrat, President Obama, to oversee the Justice Department. A lot of people who know her say she has good ethics. She's a good leader. She's not going to be compromised on this. But to Republicans, they're saying this is exactly why we wanted an independent investigation.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I mean, all this does is reinforce that point. However you feel about this, no matter how confident you are in Loretta Lynch's independence on this issue, absolutely it raises that point. It makes it more and more apparent how there are politics that are involved in this. This was what in sports you would call an own goal. This is not something that Bill Clinton needed to do, but Bill Clinton can't help himself most of the time. You know, obviously we don't know why this happened or what the genesis for it was at this point, but this was not something that is helpful to his wife's campaign, which is the only thing he should be focused on right now.
Problem for Hillary Clinton has always been trust. When you poll her, a lot of Americans, vast majority, in fact, say that she's not trustworthy. This sort of feeds into that narrative. But it doesn't seem, and correct me if I'm wrong, Philip, that trust really factors into her national polling. Still doing well.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I am something of a skeptic on these numbers about trust. I think that it is usually people who don't like the person who are saying bad things about the person. I think that's true on Trump's side as well. There's a lot of people saying things negative about Donald Trump as well. But yes, I mean, again, whether or not this by itself is going to make people like Hillary Clinton less or trust Hillary Clinton less, I'm skeptical on that. I think people who don't like her because of the email server already don't like her. But this, can't say it enough, this doesn't help.
And we know Trump is ramping up his rhetoric against terrorism again, calling for torture tactics like waterboarding. And he's obviously appealing to a certain base. There was also the Muslim ban at one point. What does he have to do now? Obviously, he needs those moderate voters, doesn't he?
He does. What he needs to do is campaign. I mean, the main flaw that Donald Trump has right now is he's not really running a campaign. He doesn't have television ads on the air in battleground states. He doesn't seem to have many staff on the ground in battleground states either. This election will be won in a few states. We all know this. Like here in New York, it doesn't matter how people vote because it's going to vote for Hillary Clinton. In Texas, it's almost certainly going to vote for Donald Trump. What he needs to do is, yes, he's going to say what he's going to say and he's going to continue being Donald Trump, but fundamentally he needs to get a campaign in place if he wants to be able to win this thing, and so far we're not seeing him do that.
Donald Trump doing very well when you talk about polling, and voters believe that he'll be effective, more effective than Hillary Clinton in dealing with ISIS. Does Clinton need to adjust her messaging on this?
Well, it depends on the poll, I'll note. I mean, the Washington Post ABC News had a poll that came out that showed that Hillary Clinton was preferred on terrorism in particular. So it depends on the poll, it depends on how you ask the question. I think that historically, Democrats have been at a disadvantage on issues of foreign policy. They've been seen as weaker. Republicans have typically done better. That she's running, even with Donald Trump, pretty consistently and beating him in some polls or not far behind in others, I think is enough of a win for her. And I think that people understand she has more experience. Fox News just had a poll out that showed that she was seen as much more experienced than Donald Trump. I think that plays to her advantage in this. If there's one thing she's done a lot of polling and a lot of research to figure out what the best message is to appeal to the most people, and I assume that's what we're going to see from here on out.
Philip Bump, so good to have you here on set.
My pleasure.
From the Washington Post, thank you very much.
Of course.